Fame is loud, responsibility is silent. Anyone can stand under lights, but not everyone can carry the weight behind them. While applause measures popularity, leadership is measured by pressure, decisions, and sacrifice no one sees. Pablo didn't rise because he was chosen. He remained because he endured. The real question isn't who shines the brightest. It's who holds everything together when it could fall apart. You think you know why he leads. You don't. Not yet. If you believe leadership is earned, not given, like, share, and subscribe. This story deserves to be heard. Before the lights, before the stages, before the name Pablo meant anything to the world, there was John Paulo Nase learning how to carry weight quietly. Leadership didn't arrive with applause, it arrived with discipline. He wasn't raised by shortcuts or luck. He was shaped by structure, responsibility, and the understanding that effort comes before reward. While others chased attention, Paulo chased improvement. While others dreamed of being seen, he focused on becoming capable. That difference matters, because it builds patience, not ego. His early mindset wasn't about being the best in the room. It was about being useful, reliable, ready. He learned to think ahead, to calculate consequences, to finish what he started even when no one was watching. That's where leadership actually begins, when motivation doesn't depend on validation. This background gave him something rare in the entertainment world: decision-making maturity. He understood sacrifice before fame ever demanded it. He knew progress wasn't instant. And when pressure came later, it didn't break him, because pressure wasn't new. Leaders don't suddenly appear when the spotlight turns on. They're forged in ordinary days, quiet discipline, and uncelebrated consistency. By the time SB19 was formed, Pablo wasn't learning how to lead. He had already been preparing for it his entire life. Talent can open a door, but it cannot keep it open. SB19 learned that early. Before recognition, there were long training days, uncertainty, rejection, and moments when quitting felt logical. Many groups with just as much talent disappeared in that phase. Not because they lacked skill, but because skill alone doesn't survive pressure. What SB19 needed wasn't just strong vocals or sharp choreography. They needed someone who could absorb doubt without spreading it. Someone who could hold the vision steady when momentum disappeared. Someone willing to carry responsibility when no one was assigning roles. That's where Pablo stepped in. Not loudly, not officially, but decisively. He didn't wait for popularity to give him authority. He took responsibility because someone had to. When plans needed structure, he structured them. When direction blurred, he clarified it. When morale dipped, he stayed grounded. Because leaders don't panic first. Talent entertains. Leadership sustains. Without someone willing to carry the emotional, creative, and strategic weight, SB19 would have been another almost. Pablo wasn't trying to be the star. He was trying to make sure there was a future. And that's the difference between someone who shines on stage and someone who makes sure the stage exists at all. Many idols learn how to perform a song. Very few learn how to build a world. Pablo did both. As SB19's primary lyricist and creative driver, he wasn't just writing verses. He was designing identity. Every theme, every concept, every emotional pivot carried intention. His words didn't chase trends. They articulated experience, self-worth, pressure, fear of failure, the hunger to rise without losing yourself. These weren't abstract ideas. They were lived truths, translated into music. That's emotional intelligence at work. Knowing what an audience feels but hasn't learned how to say yet, and giving it language. Pablo understood that music doesn't just entertain, it validates. It tells listeners they're not alone. That's why SB19's songs don't fade after the beat drops. They stay with people. As a producer and concept architect, he connected sound, story, and message into a single direction. Nothing was random, nothing was hollow. The group didn't just release tracks, they released statements. This is why Pablo sits at the strategic core of SB19. When you control meaning, you control longevity. Hits can make you famous. Meaning makes you remembered. Many idols perform what they're given. Pablo created something others could believe in and built SB19's soul from the inside out. Leadership isn't proven when things are easy. It's proven in the moments where the wrong choice feels safer. SB19's path was filled with crossroads, moments where chasing trends would have brought faster applause but weaker foundations. Pablo repeatedly chose the harder road. Risk over comfort, identity over imitation, substance over shortcuts. There were creative decisions that confused casual viewers but strengthened core fans. Directions that demanded patience instead of instant validation. And moments when backlash came, not because the choices were wrong, but because they were bold. Standing firm in those moments required more than confidence. It required vision. Pablo understood that short-term popularity can cost long-term respect. So when doubt appeared, from outside and within, he didn't retreat. He refined. He chose growth that hurt before it healed. He accepted criticism to protect authenticity. He prioritized credibility over clout. These weren't emotional decisions. They were strategic ones. Every choice asked the same question. Will this still matter years from now? That's how leaders think. They don't manage reactions. They manage futures. SB19 didn't survive by accident. Their direction was shaped by decisions that demanded sacrifice early, so stability could exist later. Leaders choose what hurts now to protect tomorrow, and Pablo made those choices when it mattered most. There's a reason SB19 never feels like one man standing in front of four shadows. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Pablo's leadership was never about control. It was about clarity. He didn't lead by overpowering voices. He led by organizing them. Each member was encouraged to develop individuality, not suppress it. Different tones, different energies, different strengths, none treated as competition, all treated as assets. That takes restraint. Ego-driven leaders dominate the spotlight to secure relevance. Secure leaders step back to protect balance. Pablo understood that if SB19 was going to last, it couldn't orbit around a single personality. It had to function as a system of equals, where trust replaces hierarchy. He gave space when others would have claimed credit. He redirected attention when it drifted too far in one direction, and because of that, every member feels essential, not replaceable. This is why SB19's chemistry feels authentic. The group doesn't perform unity, they live it. Pablo's authority comes from respect, not fear. From consistency, not volume. True leadership doesn't silence others to sound powerful, it amplifies them. And that's why SB19 doesn't look led, it looks aligned. Being first means being exposed. Every decision becomes a test. Every mistake becomes a headline. And every success raises the bar higher than before. Pablo carried more than his own expectations. He carried the weight of the group, the trust of fans, and the scrutiny of an industry waiting to judge. That pressure doesn't show on stage, but it never leaves the room. Leadership is lonely because doubt has no one to lean on. You can't pass responsibility when you're the one people look to for answers. You absorb uncertainty so others can stay focused. You stay calm publicly while processing chaos privately. There were sacrifices no camera followed. Mental strain, sleepless nights, creative exhaustion. The burden of always needing to be certain, even when certainty wasn't available. And yet, he stayed steady. Not because it was easy, but because stepping back would have cost more than stepping forward. This is the price of being first. You don't get the luxury of hesitation. You become the shield before the path exists. The higher the responsibility, the quieter the pain. Pablo never asked for sympathy. He accepted the weight. And that silent endurance is what separates leaders from performers when everything is on the line. Trust isn't built by being liked all the time. It's built by being honest when it's uncomfortable. That's why fans trust Pablo. Even in moments they don't fully agree with him. He doesn't over-explain to manipulate sentiment, and he doesn't disappear when decisions are questioned. What he says aligns with what he does. Over time, that consistency becomes credibility. Fans may debate choices, but they don't doubt intent. Transparency doesn't always mean revealing everything. It means never pretending. Pablo has been clear about limits, struggles, and direction without packaging himself as flawless. That honesty creates space for respect instead of blind devotion. When criticism surfaces, fans defend him, not because he's untouchable, but because his track record speaks louder than noise. They've watched him choose responsibility over comfort, group over ego, and long-term impact over instant applause. Trust becomes the real currency of leadership when followers believe decisions are made for something, not against them. Pablo earned that belief over years, not statements. That's why even disagreement doesn't break loyalty. Because loyalty built on truth doesn't collapse under pressure. It deepens. Pablo's influence doesn't end with SB19. It echoes through the future of P-pop itself. By proving that self-produced, concept-driven Filipino artists can compete globally, he raised the standard, not just the ceiling. No shortcuts, no borrowed identities, just discipline, storytelling, and ownership. That changed the conversation. Suddenly, P-pop wasn't just participating, it was defining itself. More importantly, Pablo didn't inspire imitation. He inspired initiative. Upcoming artists didn't just want to sound like him, they wanted to build like him. To write, to think, to lead. That shift matters. Followers fade, leaders multiply. His example showed that artistry and intelligence can coexist. That creative control isn't arrogance, it's responsibility. And that global recognition doesn't require erasing cultural roots. At that point, Pablo stopped being just a member of a successful group. He became a symbol of possibility, proof that Filipino artists can own their narrative, their sound, and their future. SB19 may be the vehicle, but Pablo represents the direction. And movements aren't remembered by names alone. They're remembered by who made the next generation believe it was possible. Real leadership is rarely loud. It doesn't introduce itself. It reveals itself over time, through weight carried, decisions made, and sacrifices absorbed without applause. Pablo's story proves that leadership isn't about standing in front. It's about standing firm when everything else is uncertain. He never demanded recognition. He didn't chase authority or force validation. Instead, he earned trust through consistency, vision, and the willingness to shoulder responsibility long before success made it visible. While others measured impact in attention, he measured it in outcomes. SB19 didn't wake up one day and appoint a leader. They grew around one. Through challenges, risk, and pressure, Pablo became the steady center. Not by overshadowing, but by holding everything together. That kind of leadership doesn't fracture a group. It stabilizes it. History doesn't remember who spoke the loudest or shined the brightest for a moment. It remembers who carried the weight when the future wasn't guaranteed, who made the hard calls, who protected the vision when shortcuts were tempting. And years from now, when SB19's journey is studied rather than debated, the truth will be clear. Leadership didn't need to be announced. It was already there, proven through action, endurance, and purpose. Comment what leadership means to you. Like, share, and subscribe if stories like this deserve the spotlight.